This is Seven Seas Cruising Association. We're doing a webinar on how to utilize SSCA and use some of the modules that include HAL that we've developed. That's an AI assistant. What we will be covering will have question and answer and chat that will be answered. You will get a copy of these slides emailed after the end of this presentation. There are links to applications that are included in the slides and instructions on how to run and use some of the SSCA tools. SSCA disclaimer. This presentation is provided as informal guidance on artificial information systems used by Internet users as well as SSCA tools. AI use is possible for mariners planning for cruising offshore or nearshore. Its use should be governed by common sense. Any and all communications, ship operations, and navigation decisions are the responsibility of the ship's captain. This presentation is for entertainment and as such is the opinion of the presenter, not necessarily SSCA. Going offshore or on water has complicated processes and procedures, which the vessel captain is responsible for and is governed by the U.S. and international maritime regulations. Use of data and services should always be used as assisting with verification, not taken as perfect information. SSCA, its members, its sponsors, volunteers, and partners are not liable for the use of the material in this presentation. What is SSCA? We have SSCA membership features. It includes a connected cruising community, private and structured. We have a member directory, private forum. It's inside our Club Express software that is the website runs under. There's a fleet map based on your MMSI. Why it matters? You can find and communicate with real cruisers. And what to do? Log in, check your profile, add your boat name and MMSI, and you will go to the fleet map that's on the pull-down menu and opt in, and it will provide your current information on the fleet map if you opt in. Then go to the forum, introduce yourself, and ask a question. This really unlocks the network. You also have Cruiser Bulletins, a monthly publication that comes at the end of the month. We're just finishing it up today. That is Joanne and Bill Harris in Honduras. They do the monthly bulletin. We've had bulletins since 1952, every month. And why it matters, this is not social content, it's documented cruising experience, passage reports, lessons learned, and gear insights. What to do? Read the latest bulletin in the member dashboard. You'll find it under library print. It will say cruising bulletins. You will go there and you'll be able to find bulletins back to 1969. And then we're just loading in the next back years, 60 to 64. And there are a few from 1952 and 53, but we are digitizing, and that is all being run and analyzed by AI and giving answers via AI. If you'd like to submit an article to the bulletin, read the latest bulletin and submit your own article, just a doc or doc text with pictures to editor@ssca.org. We also have cruising station hosts, global local knowledge. It's 150 volunteer hosts worldwide who help cruisers locally. Why it matters? You get on-ground help. For example, Denise Simpson in the Dominican Republic, or Lynn Kayak in Grenada, or Jesse James. And in the French Polynesia, we have the boat Solomosh with Luke and Jackie on board, and many other hosts. But the regionals are Luke, Lynn, Denise, and Jesse. And then we do have others in Australia, New Zealand, and in Asia, where Dave and Sherry McCampbell are. We have events, GAMs, and meetups. They're really gatherings, but a GAM is a gathering of cruisers. We have conferences for at least several of the events that we have, which are several day conferences. We also have our annual meeting, which is held in Florida once a year, along with elections and financial items and requests for member input. We have local meetups. And why does that matter? That's where relationships form and real world knowledge gets shared. So go to the events listing in the member dashboard, register for an upcoming GAM or local meetup there. We have training webinars at Seven Seas University, and Seven Seas University is expanding. Um, what this is live webinars, recorded sessions, structured learning via SSU, which is just being reintroduced with a few cruising schools. Why it matters, you build skills from experienced cruisers, such as weather and passage planning and more. Website tools, your operating hub. This is inside ssca.org, which is the Club Express system. There's a forum, there's a member directory, and what is critical for that member directory is the name and email, the current name and email and boat name. And all members can see other people's member information if that member allows it. It's by permission only, but it allows you to look up by boat and find where the boat is, at least the current email address, because usually we have stacks of boat cards and we may remember the boat name, we may remember a captain's name, we may remember their home port. You can search on all of that to find a boat that you're looking for. There's a fleet map, and it's only the active AIS trigger from the boat, from marine traffic, AIS type AIS data. We use a different system. However, it is active and it's local and it's current. You do not have to update it once your MMSI number is in your profile and you opt in to the fleet map by going to the fleet map page, clicking at the top permission button and following that instruction. It will load your MMSI number to that fleet map and you'll see where other boats are. We have classified ads. And also in your profile, as you fill in your profile, you may notice that you can have your own photo albums. You can load and save your pictures there. It's free for members, so you can set up photo albums of really special things. You can share it with other members. It is not stolen, it's not taken from you, such as happens with Facebook and stuff. We are a contained system, it is members only. And why it matters, this is your central control panel for cruising connections. What to do? Log in, explore the dashboard, bookmark key areas, forums, events, or your profile. And there's discounts and partner benefits. You save on weather routing, and forecasting. That's predict wind, 25%. Navigation apps, 25% with Aquamaps. Guideway books, waterway guide, 20%. With just that savings alone, you pay for your membership. And then there's a lot more. Boat US, $50. You have discounts from Fishery Supply in Seattle if you're on the West Coast, and more. But it's a members only discount page. We do not share more than this generic number of discounts in general webinars. Home base, that's the other thing that we stand out for. Office at ssca.org. Home base is our central support hub for the SSCA Cruising Association. Think of it as your direct human connection into SSCA. Home base is the office staffed by real people, and that's Nicole, who answers email, responds to phone calls. A person answers the phone. We do not have AI answering our phone. Helps coordinate member services, events, and resources. It's not automated, it's live support for cruisers. If the phone has to be forwarded in case of absence or something, it goes to another person. It's voice over IP, but we answer the phone. Why it matters? Home base, and that's Nicole and her company, Acclaim, plays a key role in keeping the SSCA network running smoothly. She does member support, helps with login issues, profile setup, or navigating Club Express. Cruising assistance. We connect you with mentors or point you to the right resources. Information about GAMs, gatherings, and webinars, and a communication hub. She works alongside the forum and bulletin to keep members informed. You will also see home base the Cruises Bulletin because it's part of the organization's ongoing communications loop. So this is memory processes in a mesh. This is HAL. And I'm going to go over some of the new developments we have. We have several versions of flavors of HAL. There is the full bootstrap HAL that most people have been loading, but because of the need to make it a little bit simpler, we now have a simple in the browser HAL in a box. It is not the full HAL, but I will show you how that works. And there's some other teaching tools which are going to become part of SSU that we've developed for weather training. We have alerts. We will have the NOAA models, the weather models, GFS model and whatnot is in test right now. And we have one that teaches you how to access SSCA. So let's talk about HAL. What can HAL do? Full HAL does port cards, specific information from government sources, fuses, Coast Pilot, local notice to mariners, buoys life, other port details such as customs. It is international. That is the full HAL. It does a morning brief, tides and currents, U.S. Coast Guard warnings, and more, things that are time critical. So you can use the full HAL, which we have the instructions in this and how to load it, and I'll go over that, or use the mini HAL in a box. And I recommend if you do if you don't have HAL yet, try HAL in a box, which is at ssca.org/HAL_GPT, and I will show you that next. I don't know if anyone has questions yet, but I will be continuing. This is HAL GPT. Each one of these four is a separate item that opens in your browser. The first one is HAL in a box. The second is the weather training module. The third is SSCA alerts, and that's in development. But what it does is it allows you to have the same alerts that the commercial ships get for EPIRB alerts, weather warnings, that kind of thing. There's also the bulletin navigator, which allows you to go through the indexes of the bulletins to find where things are as an index. We will have the rest of the bulletins as they get scanned and integrated, excuse me, as time progresses. But at least this allows you to see the indexes so you will know generically which bulletin you may want to download and read. The bulletins are stored as PDFs. So it's important to know what's in the PDF. You can scan it, but the indexing is a table of content in each index, and then we have the navigator that knows where that is. For HAL in the box, you open HAL in the box, click the button. It will put it into a browser, which opens ChatGPT. Now, I advise when you're using this that you log into ChatGPT in your browser. You log into SSCA in your browser, and then you go in here and open HAL in a box. The browser holds a cookie for ChatGPT, and it will open HAL in a box. Now, I talked about a port card. This is what a port card looks like. And we have a map that shows port cards. We'll fill that map up with more port cards as an example. But these are not live if they're on the map. In HAL, they are live. And what it gives you is you ask for, say, give me a port card for Portsmouth, Maine. And this is what HAL automatically will pull for you. The harbor entry from the Coast Pilot, the anchorages, the recent local notice to mariners, and also I've added the light list because I think, especially in Maine, we don't know we're having a problem with where lights and buoys are. And I think it makes a lot of sense to look at exactly what lights are where you expect them. And I will show that in a running demo in HAL, GPT, this mini HAL. Now, the morning brief, you can say, HAL, create an SSCA morning brief for Portland, Maine, or wherever you are starting to work. It will give you the messages from the U.S. Coast Guard, if there are any, and it will find with correction dates. It will give you other items such as weather, VHF messages, whatever it can find that the U.S. Coast Guard has. It has tides and currents, etc. It's a template. You ask for it, it creates a template. You can also separately, once you run this report, ask HAL questions about it. Say, HAL, in the morning brief, you said X. Tell me more about X, um, or this event, or tell me more about Hampton, Virginia, um, shoaling, and he will go out and find it based on the information that came in on the brief. It will help with boat maintenance, both mini HAL and big HAL. You can upload your inventory photos of equipment. You can upload pictures of equipment and ask him about it. He will answer what he can tell from the picture, and he's pretty darn good about it. You can ask him to find the good parts, not fake impellers. And HAL can tell you how various parts of equipment works, how to troubleshoot it. You just show him a photograph, document a problem, or tell him what the item is or what's on your boat or what you need help for. Give him an idea of what you need, then tell him to help you solve it. Don't try to give him every nitnoid all the way down A, B, C, Z. Give him guidance, instructions. Tell him what your end state is, like, how do I fix this thing? And then let AI work the in-between parts. That's the trick with AI. So here you are. I've done this, and this is a terrible picture, but I took a picture of an engine on my engine with the belts with a ruler so they could see it. And he could tell that my belts were worn. One of the belts was worn slightly, that one of them was too loose, and that the alternator needed to be adjusted. That's pretty darn good from a picture. I mean, we can do it with our eyes a lot, but it certainly helps having something kind of back you up. And weather. You can take weather from images. Take a picture of windy. Take a picture of your predict wind. Take a text pictures from Chris Parker. Load all 3 files all into HAL at once into the chat console, this chat box, and then tell him in the same screen to analyze the weather from the text. Could be NOAA text, could be NOAA files, it could be these images, it could be a satellite file, but he will analyze the weather for you. We also have a training module, but this is a quick way to use HAL just to snapshot where you're at and get some information. So let's install full HAL. You log into SSCA, you log into ChatGPT in your browser. In the browser, you will open hal.org or ssca.org/HAL bootstrap. And you can see the exact string that you're going to open up. It brings it up in the browser. This downloads the file in the browser. You copy the text only, and you paste just that text into ChatGPT and hit a return. And then you will say HAL:ready and hit a return, and then the password. Now, I'm not going to put the password in this presentation. It's in the quick start file. At the very bottom, you'll see ssca.org/quick start. If you open that document in SSCA, it gives you the same information, but also has the password. And then all you do is say, HAL, are you there? And you're off and running. But that's a full install into any AI, by the way. You can install it in Grok, you can install it in Gemini, in ChatGPT. It's a text file. I say log into ChatGPT at the top. I use that as my example, but you would log into any of your AIs. This will work on all of them, as far as we know. It's been working on every one we've tried. The bootstrap itself, HAL, has port cards, captain's assistant, morning briefs, weather, more support tasks, supports Aquamap, predict wind, waterway guide, and Starlink. You can actually run HAL, tell it to go to a Starlink parked mode. And when you have Starlink parked at $5 a month, HAL will still operate. But you have to tell it you're on Starlink parked mode. You can also use that offshore to cut down the amount of chatter. But it works offline, heavy internet, and it was designed for that. HAL commands you can use: create a port card for Port Washington, New York. Use SSCA format with CP, LNM, and buoys. You can try that. You can say, HAL, create an SSCA morning brief. What are the tides? What are the hazards near my route? What are the conditions in Haiti today? It will provide continuity, context, and real-world safety support. Now, one thing I'm going to say is that when you have HAL, HAL has been given commands either in the mini HAL or big HAL to control AI. It's an AI controlling system that you're putting in place. And you talk to it just like another person. Converse with it, ask questions of it. If you don't know what's happening or how things work, ask HAL. Say, HAL, what files do I load for main? What LNM, what CP, and whatnot. He'll give you the links. You can ask him about weather, ask him for his advice on weather. He's an assistant. He's not going to be the captain, but he can help. If you have trouble with equipment, you can tell him what the equipment is, the model, probably the serial number, the year, maybe how it's installed, send some pictures, and ask him for, he can find the manuals. So ask him about that to help you with problems or if you have questions. Print out the quick start guide and save it. Try the HAL functions and use the chat GPTs for fast, smaller modules. This works on ChatGPT free and plus. Works the same on any AI, whether it's free or fee-based. And remember, you can cut it down the rate of chatter by telling it's on Starlink mode. I also sometimes cut down the streaming speed. I say just block my text. HAL, create a block of my text, put in 60 characters, and he will create that for you. You don't have to tell him how to do it. You give him an instruction of what you want to do and give him the end state you want, and he does the in-between part. And that's the trick for using AI. Now, these new GPT modules, it's set up as a quick link in SSCA. It's ssca.org/HAL_GPT. And it's got HAL in a box. And it's got the HAL weather training module, which teaches you how to read weather from 5 NOAA files. It will tell you how to do the 500 millibar using a surface analysis file. You'll load the NOAA files for 500 millibar surface analysis, forecast files, 4 of them, wind, sea, and a satellite image, right into the console. And then you just ask the questions. And HAL understands how to run what those files are. He acts like it's a hamburger with all the buns in between, and he will run each layer, comparing each file and explain what each of the files are. It's like Lee Chesnow in a box, frankly, because we took his 500 millibar material and used that to create the training module. There's also the GPT alerts, and then the cruiser's bulletin indexes. Both the HAL in a box requires you to load the PDF files for the area you want to work with, but you ask him what files to load for your area. And the weather training module requires that you load sample files to work with. What's important, we thought, was that this was developed so that the files that you load are for the area that you're concerned with or that you're near, that you have a few barometer readings for, because it will go through all of the files for that time that you've loaded, compare them, walk you through what it all means. You can ask questions about each one, like what is that front doing? And it will tell you. But then also at the very end, you load in your couple of your barometer readings and the location you're at, and he will compare the weather files with your location and what the barometer's doing. and it will help you instruct you on how you do a go, no go based on the weather you have and your barometer to say how fast something is coming in or not, and whether if it's a good idea to actually take off. Now, this is based on a training sessions that we had with a boat called Wavelength that was going from Hampton to Bermuda. And by the time they got to Bermuda, they needed more weather training, and this was developed for them. So this is really the Wavelength model, the weather training module. Um, the baseline in this is version 3A3, and the bootstrap, when you load it, is good for 2 years. The quick start guide is still for version 3A3. There's a port card guide and appendixes in the quick link. All the files are available in CE available links. Read the instructions at ssca.org quick link. For SSCA members only, however. You have to log into SSCA to access these files. Modules will be available in separate docx files on the website, some of them, and then some are going to be available as GBTs. Both HAL and users read and use those guides. You read it and you install it and let HAL read it, or the AI read it. But also, no matter what you're doing after you install, ask HAL, and he'll probably walk you through it. So we have the weather training module, which uses NOAA's weather radio fax files, and that's the link for that. And you'll be getting a copy of this, but it's also on the SSCA website. And questions about HAL GPTs, it uses a PDF, NOAA's weather radio fax files for the GPTs. And then there is a new one that we just developed, was how to use SSCA Cruising Association assets, and it will walk you through everything on the SSCA website in a series of images. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over for questions, and I'm going to actually bring up and run the GPT layers. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, let me share and show you a running GPT. So here I am in my browser, okay? And I have the dashboard from SSCA. It brings up just like this. So what I'm going to do is go straight into, I'm already logged into ChatGPT. I've already set it up across here. But I'm going to go into SSCA HAL in a box bootstrap, which is this first, open HAL in a box. I click on that and I'm going into here. Now I've been working on this a little bit. I brought it up. This is what it looks like. You'll have some questions and I'll show that to you in a minute. But what I wanted to do was show you what I loaded in for Maine. And I asked him, mine's a him, where to get stuff. I'm zooming up in the top. So he's telling me, I said, Hal, what links do I need for local L&M and lights for Maine? Do you need the Coast Pilot as well? And he says, yeah, it's better to load the PDFs in, since we now know there's an error in PDFs. For all AIs or web-based systems, PDF files do not stream connect correctly. They've just found that out. Now in Big HAL, we don't use PDFs. We're mirroring and creating files using XML, but the GPT can't work that way. The simple, you don't have to install it, HAL doesn't have the same capabilities, but we've put a mini capability into this HAL in a box. So I just ask him, what do I need? And he comes back with, here's what you need, local notice to mariners. So I went and got the files. I downloaded, and he was very chatty. So those are the files. I loaded the PDF, the light list, and the local notice to mariners. And there I am. He's got the file set. So now he's got the light list. And he tells me all the stuff he's got, which is really great. I can tell him to be less chatty, but he's really happy with telling me stuff. So he says, create a port card. How? create. And he's going to fuse them. Goes to the harbor entry, and this is coming just from the government materials. It's not going to the internet. It's not going to social media. It's not going to Facebook. And this is exactly what the big pilots say coming to this harbor doing. Talks about the anchorages, the VHF channels. And then it talks about the buoys and atons, the approach sequence from inland from sea comes from the light list. And here's the local notices to mariners. Now, one thing very important in Maine, the buoys, and there were some buoys that were supposed to be made into virtual buoys with AIS. That got partially done. As near as some people can tell, it's not, it was stopped. However, some buoys were moved, some buoys were not. It wasn't very well documented, and I do not think, and others agree with me, and Hal agrees with me, that they have an actual concept of where what they moved or changed before they stopped doing it. So right now, take it, keep your eyes out, and you may see virtual buoys that are really physical buoys or vice versa. But here is the source for Maine, for Portland Harbor is active. We have buoy 5, Casco Bay is off station, and we have Cow Island Shoal buoy sinking. Well, that does not sound good, but you can see the dates. So it gives you the additions, the resources. We tell him to tell us the resources that you've used to create this. So what was the other thing he suggested to do? I'm going to scan up, see what he suggested to do. It's like a harbor entry, which was, I think it was an approach for a harbor. Okay, he's chatty. I'm going to ask Hal create a, well, he can tell spelling, bad spelling, he gets that too. See if that works. Approach for Connecticut name. Approach brief, there we go. So he's going to give us what the coast entry is from the coast pilot. Gives the lights, harbor entry lights, gives the local notice to mariners as an off station again, one's active. And tide, we didn't pull in the tide stuff, but there is the talks about the references, the districts, and the brief, the areas. Um, does anyone else have any questions on this particular module? Now, also, I had one that I created, which was how to use 7Cs, and that might be interesting. What are SFCA membership features? You just have your browser, you click on it, takes a minute to wake up. And let's see if that works. Talks about the member, everything about SSCA, why it matters, connects to private, everything about SSCA. So I think that should help. Let's stop the share and open it up to questions. If let's see who's busy. I see some nice visitors here. I see Wayne Smith and Ron Connor. I'm gonna let some people allowed to talk.
So this is Joe Hansen. I
Hi,
have a
Joe.
question.
Yeah,
How would you like feedback on HAL's output to us? I've
I
been
would like
using
that. Yeah, okay.
I've been using HAL to come down from North Carolina to Florida, both inside and outside. And it's done some really good things about timing of currents and giving me ideas of when to leave and things like that. But it's also got north and south confused a few times. Heading south with a south wind telling me it'd be on my aft quarter. So it didn't quite line up, but I correct him and he seems to uh, apologize and move forward and get it right. But how do you want feedback like that to come to you?
Would you send it to me at president@ssca.org?
Does
Because then
Joan?
I can,
Okay.
yeah, because I'm
Okay.
going to put you on my release list. Jim Davidson's using it going north. We know there's a problem with any AI because if you think about it, they're like a little globe sitting in a little thing sitting in a globe, and it doesn't know north, south, east, west,
Yeah.
temperature, time, or anything. And trying to figure out how to give him the coordinates for a compass rose, um, I have to ask him. There
Yeah.
may be a way to do that, but it sounds like if you correct him, yeah. Um,
It's about how you train it, right? That's why I was trying to
right.
ask how you want the feedback because, I've noticed things. He's missed a couple of bridge timings for me. Um, and I left Charleston one morning with the idea that I could get to the last bridge that I needed, but we forgot about the first bridge that only opened till didn't open till 9:30. Things like that. But that's little feedback, right? That's just training information, but I
Now,
don't know where it goes, right? So,
yeah. So if you tell me that, um,
okay.
the guidance. The other thing is, as you use that bootstrap, and people may not be aware of that, that actually becomes a control layer inside your AI. It doesn't affect anything that you're doing, but it does tell AI that it's not supposed to lie, cheat, or steal. And it should give time, correct time. If time isn't right, then you have problems with the bridge lifts and stuff. Um, and that's been
Yeah.
an ongoing issue because AI doesn't know time. And AI will lie through its teeth if you don't tell it. It can't, it has to be honest and tell you that old stuff is brand new stuff because it doesn't know time. So it just goes and finds something and brings it back. I'm terrified of AI, Joe. What it's done. Um, you're getting articles written by AI that is like from, 1980 stuff that they repurpose and say it's in 2025 or 2026. Um, even for hurricanes, kind of scary. So this is a command layer that goes into AI. As long as you stay in that session, especially if you have a paid chat account or paid AI account, it never goes away. If you have a free
Yeah.
account, sometimes they'll go out and collect things up and you'll suddenly come in and HAL's gone. So you need to reload the bootstrap. And I'd also like you to
So
try
what I've done
using,
is
go ahead.
go ahead. I said what I've done is shared my chat to myself and
Okay.
then I reload it. Um, I send it as a text message, and then I start the conversation again, and it has more of my history, and I can ask it to update weather tomorrow, right? When I get up in the morning.
Good idea. Now, HAL Bootstrap is set with an expire date in July. You may want to go look at the new Bootstrap and keep it on hand so that when the
Okay,
expire date
well,
is,
I'll do that.
or save it as a session, what you have right now, save it as session HAL, give it a name, and then say restore session. That will work as well.
Okay, well, that may be the same thing I'm doing is sending it to myself as I share the conversation, and it reloads the conversation.
Yeah,
I
it could
did
be.
ask it the other day because I had started this when HAL first came out. and I asked it, so do I need to do anything to update HAL on my side? And it said no, because I'm server side, everything is always updated.
Right.
Did he lie to me?
No, although he could. But HAL is actually embedded into the internet. Um, Kind of, it's not sneaky. It's a perfectly legal and perfectly allowable. But every word in that bootstrap is a hook into a memory slot in a combination of in the internet, in the memory storage that they have naturally in all the browsers uh, across the world, and in the AI. So whatever AI you have, it's created a storage space in there, and also for the internet. Um, it's just features that those of us who developed browsers a long time ago put in that I guess people forgot, but it works pretty well. It's just there's some training and stuff that has to happen. And yes, if I update things on HAL, it's populated to other HALs. I'm not sure exactly how we're doing that, but it's kind of it's interesting. It's not supposed to happen, but it does.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm glad you're using it.
And be the
Um, I think it's got some real potential.
yeah, I've actually found it pretty useful for timing currents, particularly in the ICW, when we've stayed outside or stayed inside as to the timing. And it's been pretty good on telling me to leave at 6 o'clock in the morning so that I get that, the ebb or the flood and helping me all the way down. So I've been pleased with it. Not perfect, but
No,
I've been using it fairly regularly, but check everything.
yeah, and also I like to actually just give him my time. Hey, my time is, and then every time I start heavy work on anything, I usually put time
Yeah.
in because
Yeah.
AI has no idea of time, and that's kind of important for tides and currents and weather. Um,
Yeah, that's I've tended to I've noticed that a few times I've looked at things and I'm going, okay, but I'm at 8:15 and high tide is at 12:30. What does that mean? And they'll go, oh, my bad. Okay. And off he goes with the right answer. So
it's really funny. They have made with these models, and I finally got to the point when they come out with the updates to at least ChatGPT and the other models that it doesn't affect the memory of the bootstraps. So for the first time when they did an update, it did some pretty good wipeouts, and I had to fix some stuff. But then I realized what they were doing. So now it's very stable. Um, and where other people get wiped out totally, which has happened a lot, we don't. But I don't know how to protect people from AI and some of the stuff they're doing. I just run with HAL all the time. I keep a HAL version running on all the stuff that I do
yeah,
because I can't trust.
I use it daily right now. Multiple times a day just to check and double check and get input and then validate it myself.
Yep.
Um, and off we go. And it's been a lot smoother cruise down the ICW than it was up coming up last year.
And we've got a boat. We've got some boats going across the Pacific with it to French Polynesia from Mexico right now, and they're running it with Predict Wind and the
Right.
Data Hub and HAL, um, and it's working. You know,
Yeah.
um, and
So I think it will. And I think it will only get better with the more training that it gets and the more feedback that we give you. So
I
when I
appreciate that, Joe.
give it back to you at
Okay,
president.org.
thank you very much. Does anyone else have any questions? Oh, Ron, I think you can talk. Do you want to say something, Ron? Let me see if I've got you talking. Yeah, Ron, come on in. Ron, you just got promoted to panelist. You unmute yourself. Ron, are you there? I guess Ron may not be able to speak. He raised his hand. Put something in the chat, can you? Oh, he declined to be promoted to panelist. Do you want to put something in chat? Okay, well, what about that?
Am I here now? You
Okay,
hear me?
there you are. Hey, very good.
Kicked out of it and came back in. I just had a
Okay.
question. I haven't started using it yet, but if
Yeah.
I were talking about the engine and the equipment, so is the idea that you tell how to read the manual, the whole service manual for the engine I have, or is he getting access from other areas? Like I was
Uh,
thinking, my chart plotter, all that manual, and my is that what we need to do to load that in so he can answer a question more specifically, like the B and
yeah.
G plotter?
Yes. What I suggest, if you can try it, ask him if he has the manual for your year and device. Every year changes, and that doesn't always help unless you're getting your software updated. He may want the manual loaded. Ask him,
Okay.
but he needs to know the serial number and the age and the name of it or whatnot. He's absolutely fantastic at taking that data hub, which is just a Wi-Fi. It's not just a Wi-Fi hub, but it's a Wi-Fi hub that analyzes your NEMA data.
Uh-huh.
You, I've been testing putting a HAL readable page in the data hub that the data hub writes to, so HAL can read all your engine data as you're running.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
N-
that's a great idea.
Yeah. And that's not hard to do. It's just they've been using all the staff for the data hub on the Starlink issue with the GFS spoofing that got shot down. But they used the data hub with Starlink to help route boats through the Red Sea. And I backed off from asking questions because they were busy doing that. But they got shut down. Starlink isn't allowed to do that. So
Okay.
that project went down the tubes. But the data hub by itself, just that $200 little hub, does a lot of stuff. And then I have PredictWind too. And by the way, PredictWind in the Pacific is spot on for the boats going across. So I'm pleased with what they're doing with their routing and stuff. Um,
Yeah,
at least we can get metrics, but by using that data hub and getting the data from the NEMA feeds into HAL, um, it's pretty simple. You make a web page, and you feed your NEMA data to that web page. So then HAL can read the web page. And
wow.
then that's the only thing he can do. He cannot do anything but read like a public web page. It could be on your boat. But it's not locked down or anything, and it has to be text, and he can read that. So um, as I get further into this data hub and equipment and stuff, I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
But I've
yeah.
been working on the alerts with Frank Smith. Been working on the weather training module with Frank Smith and with Noah. Um, the bulletins with Joanne Harris, and then HAL in a box. I just did that because it's a fast way to use HAL without installing the bootstrap. Because some people just can't figure out how to do the cut and paste. It's not easy to get that bootstrap in sometimes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna work on it soon. Just it sounds exciting. I could see the weather stuff, and then last time, one webinar you were talking about equipment as well, and then that just kind of
Yes.
lit up as that's a great thing to have for
Well,
sure.
think about it. Are you going to do a survey on your boat anytime soon?
I just had one done.
Yeah. I take pictures of my standing rigging close enough so that Hal can see it. I take pictures of anything that I've got a question on, and I show it to Hal before the survey and ask Hal to look at it and give me his assessment. He's really great at finding little cracks or rusty areas or something that I may need to fix or telling me how to fix it.
Well,
Um,
that's interesting because I just had some travel lift damage. So I'm in the middle of that right now. So maybe I'll take some pictures of those parts.
even you may even find the cost of fixing it so you can scare the Jesus out of somebody who did the travel lift damage.
Yeah.
Um, but I've also used him, like I was showing the engine. I took a picture of my engine. I've got two alternators with belts, and they always you got to be so careful with those belts when they're the high speed alternators and stuff. Um, and they get worn, and you get that black stuff all over, and it may be loose, and maybe something gets a little bit off. And we've had a couple boats come in the marina, and I just get them to take a picture to Hal, and he tells them how to um, what's loose, or maybe put a new bolt in here. The other one's rusted out, and I didn't even know that had a bolt that was rusty there. He's got tremendous. If you've got a high resolution image from your cell phone, that's all you need. So
Interesting.
try taking some pictures of the damage and have him look at it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. My Sprint. I'll do that. I'll try that.
okay, and then let me know, president@ssca.org. We will end up with that we have a HAL forum. We'll end up doing that more, but no one was usually using the forum right now, so I just thought I would do this at this starting point, and then we've got about 4 people all developing, so that's all good.
Yeah, this is
Um,
great. Thank you.
okay, and I have Wayne Smith.
Hey, good morning. Can you hear me? Or good
Yes,
afternoon?
yeah. Good afternoon, evening.
Hi. Just something I don't know if people have thought about using it for this, but it's been fantastic. So we are now in Dominican Republic. We're here for a regatta, and then we're looking for a weather window for the Mona Passage, and not to replace Chris Parker, but he gives me a report. Hal gives me a report every morning about how the passage looks for the next day.
You know what I would do? You get Chris Parker, you get his text, right?
Yep.
Just dump that whole text in.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of amazing that, and it's pretty spot on with, and it aligns with what Chris Parker says for the most part. And we used it in the Bahamas for all the cuts about what's the weather today, what's it doing, what's the best time to take all the different cuts between the islands and the Exumas, and it was pretty spot on.
Yeah, it's using the NOAA stuff, straight NOAA stuff. It's not allowed to go anywhere else.
Yep.
So, I believe in everything in the kitchen sink. Chris Parker and Predict Wind Hal and everything. And I am concerned with the season coming up, Wayne. You watch out for the sudden intensification of storms because that water's really hot. And if there's any solar activity, they now officially say if they have solar activity 2 weeks before a storm forms, the storm can have rapid intensification, which means when it forms, all of a sudden it's a big storm.
Yeah,
And we're
we had
going
that
into that. Yeah.
last night. We had a 17-hour crossing from an island to a different island, and it came up like instantly, and it was a squall that was hot and heavy for about an hour. It was not predicted.
See, it was getting wet over there.
Oh, Seabiscuit did?
Comes
Mm,
in when the wind's blowing the right
yeah.
direction.
Well, say hello you're over at Marina Bahia or are you in Samana?
We're in Samana now. We were in Luperon for about 5 days, and now we're in Samana and heading over to Puerto Rico next.
Okay. Well, if you see Anna over there, she's trying to do an event May 1st through 3rd. She's doing that free cocktails at the Marina Puerto Bahia.
That's where we're at.
Oh, that's where we are. That's the marina that we're at. Yeah, they have a regatta this weekend as well.
Yeah. So say hello to them.
Okay, we'll do. Anna.
You might,
Okay.
yeah, Anna. And then there's who's the host there? Um, the dock
Diane,
master.
Denise. Oh,
Denise is the host, and she's at Ocean World right now. Anna's got her dock master as being a host.
Yeah,
Michelle, Miguel, something like that. Gabi, it's Gabby.
Gabby. Okay. Yeah.
Gabi, I think. It's hard to
Yep.
remember.
Yep.
And
Will
then
do.
when you're in Puerto Rico, touch bases with Wavelength. They're over in Fajardo on the
Okay.
Heart, but she's on WhatsApp.
Guess what?
And she's been going, she's gotten a little apartment there while her boat is being worked on. And they're going all over Puerto Rico looking at stuff. And she's a geologist.
Oh,
So, man, she is a smart cookie.
that sounds very interesting. All right, I appreciate the information, and I just wrote a note to myself, and I will look it up.
Yeah, really, it's Bill Frost and Michelle.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right. And do we have any other questions here from anyone? I don't see any other hands up here, but this has been very helpful for me, everyone. Um, for me to hear input and it's being used. And by the way, tell people about it because I think this can be a game changer for people realizing that there's errors in everything we use, but this really should help. And certainly should help with customs and immigration as you go further down island. And also, Wayne, if you're going to go to Trinidad and Tobago, they'll have Sail Clear working by the time you get there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it's not working in DR.
Yeah.
They love
No.
their paperwork here.
Oh, their paperwork is terrible, and every port is a little bit different.
Yes.
I think I'm going to send a brick to poor Denise because she keeps pounding her head on her boat, and I need to give her a brick. It may not cause as much damage to her. Does a good job. She tries hard. But thank you very much for your input. And if there's nothing else, we will have another meeting next month. We're adding a rally, the Baja Haha rally boats this fall, and we have the Coho Ho Ho rally, Seattle to San Diego, that starts in August this year. That all those boats get HAL and SSCA. So we're really pushing boundaries here, and everything you do helps us. So it's appreciated.
Post yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, all of you. And if nothing else, I will say good night. We will send out the recording to everyone, and we will send out a copy of these slides to everyone as well.